All right.
And we are live, I hope, coming to you straight out of Croydon. And of course, we've got our resident posh boy, the head honcho himself, the lean Suge Knight of the Muslim vibe, the top boy from Tehran.
Oh my God.
Mr. Salim Qassam.
Not having a
What's going on, man?
It's been a while since we last done this.
Yeah, because you're busy, isn't it?
I'm busy.
Yeah, man.
I only remembered you because I saw you on BBC One. I thought, let me hit this guy up, see if he still has time for us little people and our little podcasts.
I'm just saying, BBC. You man are like big. You're big. Apparently, you're big out in around, bro.
Oh God.
Sorry, I can't help myself. But yeah, alhamdulillah. It's been a while. Things are going well for both of us. All praise is due to the one. But yeah, it's been interesting times. A lot of stuff has happened since we took our hiatus. Well, I took my hiatus from this medium. And yeah, it's troubling times, man. What do you think?
Well, I think we've been, I think, speaking on and off for a few weeks and kind of saying, oh, we should do this. What can we talk about? And things were relatively quiet. And then the last few weeks, there's been a lot of, I guess, madness in various different arenas. We were just going to be talking today about the all the stuff with the royals and the Meghan Markle stuff and talking about colorism. But then obviously the events that transpired in Croydon, and I guess Brixton.
Yeah, that's okay. Like a good 45 minutes away from me, bro.
Oh, okay.
Don't curse our area.
So it was Clapham. Clapham is what I'm thinking of, right?
Apparently, she was walking. She's from Brixton, but I think she was walking from the Clapham area. It's a bit sketchy, and then she I think where Streatham. I can't. She's from Brixton, not that I know. And I think maybe whoever she visited was in the Clapham area. Whoever's listening, forgive me if I'm wrong regarding those details, but
that basically, obviously, as you say, like absolutely tragic what happened. But I think it's kicked off also a much wider conversation about the safety of women and the need to address this at a societal level. And I know you've been talking about this a little bit as well.
About for a long time.
Yeah. Huh? No, I'm saying that the recent stuff you've been going on Instagram Live and talking about specifically what's happening with regards to safety of women and all of that. A lot to get through today, to be honest. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it's going to be one of the lighter conversations that we have.
I mean, it's messed up, man. I think what's disappointing as well has been the response from our male counterparts. I think this is the one time where it's appropriate to tell people to man up. Two people are too busy trying to absolve themselves from stuff. It's like, I know, for example, that I'm not no rapist or pervert or any of those things. But at the end of the day, when a woman says men are like this, like, can we argue? Like, there's never been a time, I don't think there's ever been a time where women in any part of the world were completely safe from men, Like, I put this up, right? I said, how messed up is it that from a toddler to a teenager to an adult to even being an old lady, women are in equal danger when they're out by themselves, from the same sorts of things. And so I was like, oh yeah, but what about men? I'm like, shut up. I'm trying not to swear, but just shut up. Like, why are we in competition? Like, yeah, it's hard being a man. I'm like, okay, but are you scared of women attacking you or are you scared of other men? Because if you're scared of other men, then it still shows what women are complaining about. Like, if you as a man are scared of other men and you're naturally stronger, faster, than the average woman, imagine how scared the average woman is when she goes out the street. Like, in the mornings recently, I've been going to train. I've been working out and stuff. I start off with like a brisk walk or jog or whatever. But like when it was really cold and dark, I would go out in my hoodie And I'm not gonna lie, I scared the shit out of a lot of people on the street, right? You know, I'm not gonna lie, I probably gave some people nightmares. But like, I would make a conscious effort of not jogging behind a woman. I'll go round because I know how scary it is for a woman. You know, I've had a female family member followed to her home twice. Most horrible stuff happens when you're within 5 minutes of your house or when you're getting into your car. For anybody listening to this, I would advise them to get a book by Jeff Thompson called Dead or Alive. That's for men and women. The criminals, it sparked a lot of debate. I don't know whether you saw it on your end, but not my friends directly, but I found that recently, because of the exposure I've gained from recent activities last year and this year, I have a lot of new followers that I've not been teaching for all these years. If you see what I'm saying, like my day one followers already know what I'm about and they already understand certain things. But I find, I hate to say this, but you already know who the major culprits are. They just don't get it. So they come on and they say things like, yeah, but the way these women dress, though. I'm like, get off my page. Go and, get off my, like, really the way women dress. Like, there's examples of women, then they come and they start naming all these countries, right? Where, yeah, but women are safe in this country. One guy came out and said, yeah, women are safe in Egypt. I'm like, bro, there's a whole video of like 23 men in Cairo following a woman and harassing her just because she's wearing tight clothes. Men, honestly, there is a problem. There is a real problem. And, I don't know. It's embarrassing. I feel as somebody who lives in a house full of women, So what were you about to say, bro?
No, I was going to say we had this conversation in the office today off the back of this. And when the UN stat that came out, about 97% of women in the UK have faced sexual harassment. I'm sure that probably wasn't as surprising to you, but I was quite shocked.
Not surprising to me at all, bro.
But I brought it up with the women in the office, and they were both surprised that the number wasn't higher. They thought it would be 100%. And it sparked, the thing is, it sparked a conversation in the office where I personally realized that I'm not anywhere near as aware as I should be of this dynamic in society and the difficulty for women in terms of their feeling not safe in every circumstance, like you said. And the thing is, you say a lot of this stuff, and I know you have, and I don't like to give you credit, but credit where credit's due, especially on these specific issues and talking about self. Why can't you take things gracefully?
Because you just admitted that you don't like to give me credit, you waste, man. It's like, wow, how am I supposed to take it as a compliment?
When you refer to listen, I don't know many people. I don't know many people that refer to themselves as the grandmaster. So
because I am the grandmaster. Prove I'm not.
I don't feel the need to say nice things even when they're due, because let's be honest, you say them to yourself already 10 times over.
Young man, there's an African proverb. A lizard fell from a tree so tall that its branches touched the clouds. And when he fell and landed on the floor, nobody saw him fall, but he survived. And you know what the lizard said? If nobody shall praise me, I shall praise myself. So, that being said, I already told you I'm the grandmaster. I've been the grandmaster all this time. People are just catching up now.
But no. So genuinely, I think for me at least, men need to at this point have these conversations with the women that they work with, their friends, their female family members as well, and actually get an insight, because they were talking here and we recorded like a little podcast or a little conversation for the TMV podcast. And they were just detailing how, when they leave work, they have struggles and they face sexual harassment. But here, I know it sounds weird, but for me, I leave work, I go to my car, no problem. I get home.
Nobody's going to sexually harass you. I mean, look at you. But the point is, you know what I mean? Like,
No, but it's a genuine thing for men. Like, it's not even on the radar. Therefore, I think we don't even perceive it to be a struggle.
I'll be honest with you. I have been sexually harassed, right? There's some wild stories. Crazy things happen when you're on tour. But like when it happens to a man, it's funny. It's like, what the hell was it's funny. But the reason why it's funny is because I know that at no point am I actually
there's no threat on
exactly. Whereas for a woman, that could be your last day on earth, depending on how this goes. I've seen so many situations where a guy is following a woman, harassing her for a number, and she has to give that number because if she doesn't, there's that fear that things might turn violent. Sorry, I just got a call from Double Down. But yeah, there has to be, they have to give their number in some situations because there's that pressure that this guy might kidnap them and do God knows what with them. Then there's also the pressure at work where they have to smile at certain guys because that guy is the alpha male of the company or the most powerful person in the company. So even though he makes inappropriate jokes, he might not even be high value in the company, but because he's friends with the boss, they keep quiet because, and you know what? It starts from home. Remember, we did a podcast months ago and we talked about how I said, I don't make my daughters sit on anyone's lap just because they're uncle, just because they're daddy's friend. I don't make my daughters go and hug this uncle or kiss. If they're not comfortable with somebody, they don't even have to stay in the room when they're here, right? That goes a long way because to me, that is a patriarchal thing because that uncle tomorrow is the CEO of a company. That uncle tomorrow or that daddy's friend tomorrow is such and such person's friend or the most powerful person in the company or the Quran teacher or the this or the reverend. There's that power and deference we give specifically to men that it makes it even that much harder for women to speak out when these things are happening because we've created this environment, we've created this atmosphere where you dare not challenge a man in power, And that's why these guys get away with doing this shit for so long. I mean, it was no surprise that Scumbag turned out to be a police officer. Because, again, we've been saying this. Anywhere where you find misogyny, anywhere where you find racism, you'll find sexism and misogyny because it's the same thing. It's an inherent feeling of superiority because of something that you had no hand in. You were born a man. You didn't choose to be a man. But inherently, you feel superior to a woman just because of something that you had no say in. Now, if you are willing to treat somebody who's darker skinned than you like shit just because they were born that way, of course you're going to maltreat a woman. It's, any culture, any country where they have a problem with racism and classism, they also have a high problem with pedophilia. Check it. And then the biggest scandals of pedophilia tend to be among men in high positions, in jobs, in school. That's why it's always headmaster, gym teacher, MP, royal family member. It's always like that. Casting producer, director, because they have that power. They feel they can dominate people. So, for men to not know these things or not understand it, I don't understand how men are aware because at the end of the day, if almost every woman has been sexually harassed, how is it that we don't know anybody? Are you telling me growing up in secondary school, there wasn't that one friend in your group that you thought was a bit, nah, that guy doesn't move right. Like, we all had that one friend where you're like, look, I don't like the way, I wouldn't want him around my sister. I wouldn't want him around my mom. We all thought like that about one or two people that we knew. But their antics were hilarious to us when they were doing it in school. And that might have started with pulling a girl's bag, poking her, doing that kind of stuff. Those are the same guys that then went up to, chirping girls on the road. I come here, let me talk to you, bro. It depends on the environment you're in, of course, but like inner city London, you'll see this all the time among school kids. Now, those boys, I'm not saying they're going to grow up to be rapists, but they're contributing to an environment where women do not feel that they can move freely from point A to point B.
So I think, because I want to try and come up with some sort of roadmap, or at least what you think is the kind of solution or the way forward from this, because I've heard, at least in Muslim circles, people are talking about the hijab and saying that, if women dress modestly and wore the hijab, you wouldn't have this problem. And that's, this statistic proves that, which is nonsense.
Every time I hear someone say that, I want to punch them in the throat. Like, honestly, every time I hear someone say that, I want to beat the crap out of them. And this is the reason why. You see Hajj?
Yeah.
You see Hajj? You've been on Hajj, innit?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go with your wife?
Yeah.
How did you find that experience?
I had to physically stand in front of her while we were doing tawaf and put my arms out to make sure that no one got in her way, basically.
Was she wearing hijab?
Yeah, of course.
Wow, you mean wearing hijab in the holiest site, the most visited pilgrimage on earth, the one pilgrimage taken more seriously than any other pilgrimage by any other religion, the one that the largest gathering of human beings for a single purpose, the direction in which every Muslim faces to pray, and there were men there, and the halalness didn't just stop them from, wow, that's shock. I mean, of course, like this is what I'm saying. These guys talk about, yeah, wear hijab. They're idiots, man. They're absolute idiots. That's like saying, yeah, well, you know, if you don't wear anything flashy, no one's gonna rob. People will still rob you, bro. Nobody's ever gonna break into your house if your door's locked. Shut up. Like, these guys don't have these people shouldn't be allowed to speak. This is why I don't believe in freedom of speech. I'll say there should be no speech without knowledge. And I hope whoever it is that said these things listens to this. If you think that the way a woman dresses is what brings about sexual harassment, you are an idiot, you're an animal, and you shouldn't be allowed to have kids. That is disgusting. That is victim blaming. How can you, like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's one thing if, let's say, a woman's dressed a certain way and she goes to a club and someone tries to chat her up and she looks nice, whatever. You could say she attracted a guy because she looks nice, right? But to say she attracted sexual harassment and rape? Are you serious? The kind of men who pull women's hijabs off are the same kind of men that sexually harass women anyway. One. Two, Pakistan, is there no rape problem there? Do women walk around in short skirts there? Afghanistan, is there no rape problem there? Do women know wear hijabs there? Egypt, is there not a huge sexual harassment problem there? What are these people talking about? The same way these guys are trying to say, oh, yeah, but if we had a khilafah, was there not rape during the time of the Ottomans?
Listen, we're in agreement. I think that this is not.
Sorry, I just get passionate.
No, I know. No, it's important. It's important. But
these people deserve to be lynched, bro. They deserve to be put. Sorry, go on. They deserve to be put to the sword.
Have you got one more in you? You can say
it. People who think that you can, who think like that should be put into slavery. That's what I think.
All right.
They should be enslaved.
So we're both.
Make sure that makes an edit for this. I stand by that. If you think that women bring on sexual harassment simply because of how they dress, you deserve to be sent into slavery.
So we're both in agreement that it's not down to modest dress or the hijab or anything else, right? There is a systematic societal problem.
Yes,
and that problem exists within men. I think
yes.
Now the question is, how do you think that we address this? What changes need to be made? Where do you think the problem stems from as well? Because you mentioned men in positions of authority and everything else. But I feel a part of the problem is the media, for example, the representation of women, the objectification, all of that.
But why does the media do that? Men in authority, is it not men in authority in the media? Are the advertisement companies not primarily headed by men? Are the majority of products not geared towards the spending power of men? Even products women think are for them were created. It was a man that designed the bra. Let's just put it that way. Most of the makeup, most of the clothes, the fashion, it's decided by men in order to attract men. They convince women that the male gaze likes this and only this. So even if we say that the problem is the media, ultimately the blame still falls on us, men, 100%. And I say that as a red-blooded man.
But
I wasn't even born as a boy. I was born as a man.
How do we address or change this, do you think?
I mean, it's a multifaceted problem, but what I want to do first is make a separation. You see this guy, this Wayne Cousins guy that they got, someone like him, there's no amount of education, media or whatever, that will make a human being like that decent. None. So I'll get to what we can do about people like him. But regarding the sexual objectification of women, and so on, and whatever. Even that, like, if women are always, women, as is their right, have the right to want to look nice, have the right to want to dress a certain way. However, I think that this whole idea, for example, that in a rap video, I have to have women dancing and objectified, or that to sell a car, I need to have naked women, to sell a beverage, I need to have naked women. Now, I'm not saying, again, obviously, if we put our religious biases aside, I'm not saying that women shouldn't wear bikinis or whatever. Women should, that's their business, how they want to dress. But we should stop putting forth the idea that one way or another, a woman's worth is entirely determined by those qualities, if you see what I'm saying. There's almost a, and then also I think the pornographic nature of video games, the over-sexualization of children, with the characters and toys that they play with, making young girls feel insecure about their bodies. I feel, for example, things like photoshopping of certain types of photoshopping of magazines doesn't help. There's a whole bunch of issues that contribute to, the problems that we have that sexualize our kids, teens, and men. I think we need far more brutal punishments for men who commit certain crimes. I think companies need to have, the same way they need to have a statement on anti-blackness and racism, there needs to be clear guidelines regarding conduct between genders or sexes or whatever. There needs to be clearer punishments. Men need to be held accountable when they do certain things. It has to be done. And I think even on a social level, I'll give you an example. I'll give you two, in fact, because you've been quiet today. So the first example I want to give you, right? So I went to secondary school in Nigeria. Yeah. And I was in a class. There was a girl called Fatima in my class. And Fatima and I hated each other. We used to cuss each other out every day. Fatima's mom is really good friends with my mom to this day. To this day, they're very good. And she lived about 7 minutes away from me. Now, one day, when I was coming back from school, I might have been boxing or basketball, whatever it was I was doing. I was walking home in the evening. And the way our houses were, there was a fork in the road, right? Her house was to the left, our house to the right. Now, I noticed a dark car following her at a slow pace. So as I was walking, she turned around and caught my eye. And she was like, "Is mom home?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. Let's go together and check." And the two of us walked all the way up the road to where her house was, and the car circled back and left. She didn't tell me who was in that car, why they were following her. I didn't ask. And when we got to the gate, she said, "Okay, you can go." I turned and I walked off, right? I was 14 or 15. But I knew that this girl was in a spot of bother, and she knew that even though we cuss each other out every day in school, she knew that first and foremost, yeah, the futwa, the respect, the mutinchi, as we call it in my culture, that honor is still there. It's my duty to make sure that she's okay. The next day in school, you think we were friends? No, we continue cussing each other as if it never happened. And to this day, she's never even acknowledged that it happened. We don't speak about it. Because even though now we get on, just because she's married with kids now, she's met my wife when I took her back to Nigeria. I didn't do it for her to thank me. I didn't do it to get her number. I didn't do it because I want to be cool. I want to be a hero. I did it because it was the right thing to do, and that's the culture I was raised in. I think stuff like this is something that we need to encourage. There needs to be a sense of community and a sense of responsibility, especially from men. It's not about telling women, "Don't do this, that, and the other." It's as men, when you see something happening, you stand up and you do something about it. And the second example I'll give, and then I'll shut up, right? I was in a WhatsApp group with other comedians. And at the time, all the comedians in this group were way more successful than me. Way more successful than me. And there was a discussion going on. I'm not going to name who they are. But there were discussions going on about women constantly. And speaking about women in a way that I was not comfortable with. And then there was the sharing of images to the point where at the time I didn't set my WhatsApp where, before if you put an image into a WhatsApp group, everybody, if they don't set their phones otherwise, the image goes straight to their phone. So I'm trying to go through pictures of my daughter and then I see a woman's backside in my camera. I said, what's this? I never downloaded this. So I went on the roof and I seen that, oh, these guys are now sharing pictures of girls on the group. And I lost my shit. Sorry, I was trying not to swear. I lost it, and I left an angry voice message in the group. And I told off the lot of it. I said, first of all, you guys know that I'm a Muslim. You guys know that I'm married. Yeah, have some respect. And also, apart from that, you're all grown men. You should be ashamed of yourselves. In fact, one or two of you in this group, are married yourselves or share the same faith as me. But you're seeing this and you're not saying anything. I won't stand for it. And I left the group. The admin of the group messaged me and apologized, put me back in the group. And then they set rules in the group that nobody should make these discussions. Nobody should share these pictures. I think they went and made a different group where they can do their shenanigans. But Allah is my witness. This isn't a lie. This happened. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if that changed everybody in the group. But when you stand as a man and you say, no, I won't stand for this. I don't appreciate this. It's not good. It doesn't matter. Like, if you think about the culture we're in, as a man saying you don't want to see pictures of half-naked women or whatever, you sound weird. People might even say you're gay. I don't care. I don't care. Because those women that you took, do they know you took their pictures? If tomorrow someone shares a screenshot of this, do you know how we all look in this group? So, probably it damaged my popularity among these guys. But still, these are the things. It's a lonely path trying to be a decent man. But the thing is, a decent man is a lion, and a scummy man is sheep. We only need one lion to control 10 of these sheep. But nobody wants to stand up and be a lion. Even these guys that say if a woman wears hijab, 9 out of 10 of them have never stepped in and physically put themselves in harm's way to defend someone else. Unless maybe it's someone in their family. And even at that, maybe they wouldn't do it. So I say to these men, man up, take responsibility. Being a man is a privilege, earn it. When you see these things happening, do something about it. Don't stand and say, yeah, but if she had one hijab, maybe, because there's no hijab, there's no item of clothing that would have made things different for this young lady that was taken. What could she have worn? I saw a picture of her. What was she wearing that was so provocative that we've not seen before? These guys need to understand how insensitive it is as well when they say these things. They don't know. Many of these guys don't realize maybe their mother, their wife, or their sister has been sexually harassed while she was outside, but just didn't tell them because they know he's an idiot.
For real, man. I think, like you said, on the individual level, I strongly feel like I've personally had quite a lesson in all of this stuff in the last few weeks, just through conversations, and actually understanding the scale of the problem, but then also appreciating my own, what I can do. So like you said, walking on the other side of the street, and something that we discussed in the office as well. When if you've got your hood up because it's cold at night, maybe pull your hood down so you look less threatening, just because you don't know how the woman who's on her own might perceive you. And like you said, also observing situations, and if there's an opportunity to step in to make someone feel safe, to do what needs to be done, step up and do
Absolutely.
that. But I think the other thing which is really important that you mentioned on the other side is the personal accountability for our own, because like you said, none of us are saints. And there are always opportunities, especially when it's just guys having conversations, for example. Very quickly can it slip into conversations about women and attractive women and sharing pictures and saying, oh, she's like this, she's like that, whatever. And it's like you said, it's not necessarily easy to go against the grain and be like, oh guys, this isn't appropriate, or let's not do it, or be like Nabil and just start swearing at everyone in a voice note. But you know what I mean? No, I think it's important, right? Like for me, the personal accountability side is one thing, but then there's also the societal stuff. Like we said, I feel like the media has a huge role to play. This whole hypersexualization of young people. Netflix shows so I remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They did a remake of that on Netflix, and there's I believe there's like a scene where there's like an orgy of some sort in there, and these are meant to be like 16-year-old kids.
Why are you watching these things, brother?
But but what
I'm
I'm
not. I'm not gonna lie. I watched it as well. It's a good show, but it was very disturbing. The idea that these kids are meant to be.
they're meant to be like 16, I believe, and
Obviously, it's adults playing the parts, but yeah, you just think it's only later that I actually said, "Come on, this is actually wrong." And
yeah.
a lot of these programs are like that. A lot of these programs that, like, 13 Reasons Why, there's sex and drugs and all this stuff, and it's brilliant drama and whatnot. At least with 13 Reasons Why, okay, fine, there was some message behind it, but
But there was
you
also
just think,
like the issue with that in particular was that there was this kind of glorification of suicide as well. Like the way that there's a suicide scene in there. I don't want
yeah.
to kind of spoil it for people that haven't watched it, but it's I mean it's about a
I
woman
mean, the
killing
whole
herself.
program is about death and
Yeah,
suicide
but
and
but but,
bullying, but yeah,
but I mean
yeah,
it builds up in such a way, and it's almost like, oh, this is a very glorious and like noble outlet, and it's done in such a graceful way, and the music and everything is very romantic in that sense. But I think
yep,
the unfortunate reality is that for people like me and you who have been through and have grown up and are now men, and not teenagers struggling in school with bullying and all of this kind of stuff, we don't necessarily see the world like that. But if you're a young person who's struggling with these issues and you see this being
absolutely.
being played out in front of you and it looks so amazing, and oh, maybe I can create this whole like
Mm,
audio notes which I send my friends, and it absolve my, there's it's just so much, right? And I think
yeah,
that's also for me a big contributing factor. And
you're
like you
right.
said, the decisions being made at the top are by these execs who are the same people who perpetuate this problem from day one. And we've seen it throughout
Yeah,
Hollywood, with producers and top
yeah,
actors who are the biggest culprits, I guess. Um, in terms of time, do you want to also talk about the colorism stuff with Meghan Markle? Because I know you
yeah.
also did
I
that
want to make
video.
one last point though as
Yeah, go
well.
on.
Like, there's one very, very dark truth as well that all of us men need to face, and that is that at some point in your life, without knowing, you may have made a woman feel uncomfortable. Maybe not even on purpose. It might have been by accident. It
Mm.
might have been a look, a momentary look. It might have been, you met someone, you were friendly, and you smiled and you told a joke. Not even something suggestive, but the way you behaved just made them feel. And sometimes, especially for guys like me and you, like you're like what, 6'2", 6'3", you're a big guy,
Mm.
and the average woman is 5'5", 5'4", right? So we're these towering, large men, and like on the best of days, like if someone doesn't see you laughing and smiling, to them, you nice Salim that everybody knows. Someone that doesn't know you can, oh my God, he looks like one
He's
of
just like
those.
Nabil, yeah.
What? He's one of those rogue mini cab drivers. But in all seriousness, someone shared this meme and it nearly brought me to tears. But I didn't cry because I'm not a punk. But like, someone shared this meme, right? And it was like, oh, I'll just walk home. Then showed the woman kidnapped or something, walking home. Okay, I'll get a mini cab. Then they show another news clip, woman raped a mini cab. Then say, okay, fine, I'll get an Uber. Uber driver rapes woman. Okay, fine, I'll get the train. Woman raped on train. I'll get the bus. Woman raped on bus. Okay, I'll just stay home. Woman attacked in her house. So yeah, it's horrible, and we really need to do better as men. And I know this probably makes me sound like one of them male feminists that wears socks and sandals, but
Yeah, no, for real. And so I guess it's almost like a bit of a lighter conversation around the royals.
I
Um,
see what you did there, lighter.
no, I tried not to. I
Look at
heard it.
that.
I heard it, and I was like, no. But anyways, yeah, no.
All this time you spent with the grandmasters.
But
Yeah,
so you did that video for Double Down News,
yeah.
about the royals and the Meghan Markle stuff and the Oprah
Hmm.
interview. And I think you had like a Facebook post as well, and there was loads of comments kicking off, because
Yeah.
for some reason you're able to incite debate wherever you go and whatever you say.
I don't know why. I really don't know why. What I've learned from this though is that South Asians really, really sympathize with the royal family.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Not really. If you think about it, this is exactly what would happen if you married into a Desi family. They're worried about the complexion
Mm.
of the child.
This is
They
what
treat you
this
bad
is what I
because you're
was saying as
divorcee.
well. I was saying this as well. Like the
You know,
questions around skin tone. This is something very very normal for South Asians.
very.
So like
Even in some African cultures as well, you know, it's a very. But for me, this is my stance. Obviously, for me, everything is always political. My stance is this, right? Meghan is a good tool for discussion. But do I feel particularly sorry for Meghan? I don't know. I feel sorry for anybody, obviously, who struggles with mental health issues like depression and whatnot, because whether we admit it or not, we've all been through it at some point. However, I just think as a black, no, sorry, she's only black now. Back then, she insisted on being called biracial, and she pledged to a white sorority at college or university or whatever. Like that's a big thing. If you are in America, that's a huge deal. Like if you're not like Noop or you know one of them Kappa people, you pledge. It doesn't matter if you're mixed. You pledge to a black sorority in America. She
mm,
pledged to a white sorority. The only thing black in her life was her mom, but like all her roles, she never really played a woman of color. She, it was very so, the black thing was played up more because she was marrying this prince. And
yeah.
I think from there, she as a black American woman, should have started asking questions like, I have never been seen as black until I've met this family. Why is that? And it's like, if you're a FBA, foundational black American, or, a descendant of slaves,
Yeah.
right? You need to realize this family has probably owned some of your ancestors. That wealth they have was off the backs, literally the backs. If you're a Jamaican, you're an American or whatever, like we're Commonwealth. That means that they occupied our lands and so on. But out of us, maybe some of even my ancestors were stolen and sold into slavery for the benefit of this family. Then you've got the fact that the man she's marrying has dressed up as a Nazi at a party where people were wearing KKK hoodies. Now some people are like, oh, he was young. I was young too. You will never find any picture of me dressed like a Nazi, bro. You'll never have any picture. Like, to me, he was young. To me, the fact that he's the least racist member of that family and he's done that is very worrying. It's very worrying, So it's like, oh, I understand more things now. And even when during the interview, you'll find that this man never actually said that he never acknowledged the legacy that he's privileged. He said he's privileged, but he never acknowledged the legacy that this privilege comes from. And if you're a black woman, a woman of color, and you're marrying into this family, keep in mind they've refused to apologize for slave trade. They've refused. They don't acknowledge it. Why the hell would any black woman get into that situation? So, I mean, again, it's not victim blaming. It's just a question that why is everybody acting like they're surprised? When has British media...
But
Go
this is
on.
the thing. I think like there was that mad hysteria for a few days where everyone got caught up in the interview and, oh, did you see when she said this? And did you see Oprah's reaction and Harry? But I think for me, the more pertinent issues are the wider kind of stuff that is brought up. So looking at the British media,
Piers Morgan's bitch ass. Sorry.
Piers Morgan. For someone that's trying not to swear, you swear a lot. I'll give you that.
Shut up, man.
So
I've
Piers
said
Morgan,
2 words, okay, in the space of
very many times.
No.
Yeah, you listen back, you swear a lot. I don't think you realize. It's just
Oh no, I
subconscious.
swear a lot, yeah, but not today. I've said like 2 things. It's just like nicotine. I mean, you smoke. I have my vices.
So, Piers Morgan is an example of someone who has. I mean, look, for me, just quickly on Piers, I think people need to appreciate that this guy's stock has only gone up in all of this. He may have lost his 1 gig, but everybody's talking about him, and wherever he goes next, probably GB
right.
News. They're going to flourish. And I mean, well, to be fair, when that outlet launches, that's going to be a huge turn, I think, in the political landscape in the UK. because it's just fully normalizing a very far right narrative, which already exists on social media and
Yep.
among trolls like him. But giving it an actual home is going to be, I don't even have the words, but it's going to be
And you know what? Left-wing media is to blame for this, because they kept on having this idea of, oh no, let's just hear what they have to say. No, when there's a madman on the street pretending to play the guitar, you don't ask him the song that he's playing. You leave him, you know.
But to be honest, it's not even that. It's not about their intrigue and knowing what he has to say. It's purely based on numbers. All these guys want is debate, and they want aggression. So they'll bring someone who's not even middle of the, like, they don't want moderate conversation. They just want two extremes debating.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of the time, it's not even a good quality debate. It's a shouting match, you know. And sorry, my back hurt. And they sorry, I don't have the usual setup today because my kids are occupying the space downstairs. But like, you know, there's this false need, there's this full balance that they like to claim that they have. Mm-hmm. And they make out that this is what they've done for years, and this is how the far right has grown. They gave an audience to the UKIPs and the Britain Firsts and the Tommy Robinsons and the Paul Goldings and the Katie Hopkins. The media, these people would not deplatform them and silence them. They kept on doing this, right? And these people have gained the following through that, because, you know, the right is a very, very dangerous. People don't understand how dangerous the far right is. The far right is a bunch of people who aren't, you know, these are people who are used to mobilizing because they don't have much better to do. And they're armed with the most dangerous weapon of all, which is white privilege, which means they can do and say certain things that the extreme on maybe our end of the spectrum could not do without rousing suspicion. So these guys can arm themselves. These guys can plan. Like, they took over the Capitol in America, the Capitol building. They took over it, and only 2 people got shot. 2 or 3 of them got shot. But they held, you know, they held politicians. Right? Could you imagine a bunch of Muslims doing that? They'd have nuked them. So, you know, there's been a huge mistake that I think now ITV and BBC are rightly trying to correct. And I hope they continue down the progressive path they've chosen. But, you know, what can we do? I think people on the left side of things need to get more active, because I found that left wingers became lazy because, you know, you feel that because you're in the moral.
I still feel like fundamentally it comes down to the media setup. So, for example, I've been invited on to BBC Asian Network to discuss. I know, yeah, it's not your level of BBC. We're not BBC One yet, but
I'm always on BBC Asian Network.
So I've been invited onto BBC Asian Network to discuss current affairs and politics, whatever. And I remember specifically getting a phone call once, and I can't remember what the topic was, but they said, "Do you believe this?" And it was like a contrarian to mainstream view. It was a bit out there, and I was like, "No, I don't." And they're like, "Oh, we're looking for someone to argue that point." And I'm like, okay, but what if you just get people who have normal perspectives on this and you have a discussion on it in a normal way, rather than having like one who's polar opposites? Because that's what sells, right? That's what gets them views and listeners and ratings and whatever else. And unfortunately, that's what I feel a lot of mainstream has become. ITV, Good Morning Britain, all of these shows. It's just about, all right, how can we squeeze out as many viewers and listeners as possible, you know, beat our competitors and become the number one. And that's at the expense of the people's intellect and the progress of society, if I'm honest. Because
and even journalism as a profession, because now there isn't much good journalism left.
Yeah, but even TV, like Jeremy Kyle as an example, that show finally got shut down after how long? But it existed for so long, and it keeps the intellect of the people at such a base level. But it's a comfortable ignorance that it incites, right? And the unfortunate thing is that we don't have enough, I think, as you say, like positive journalism that actually gets people thinking and talking and progressing conversations. Rather, it's like, let's just have the Shamima Begum debate and, should she or shouldn't she? You know, it's almost like a soap opera.
I didn't know any better, I swear they were trying to distract us. But I mean, that's just conspiracy theory.
That's well out there, mate.
I need to well had. Yeah, it's worrying. It really is, because we have a society that is becoming more and more deprived intellectually, and it's like this lockdown has had a mental and physical sort of effect on everyone. People are not as smart as they were before the lockdown. Only a select few people actually benefited in any way. People are watching trash on TV. People are eating trash. I mean, the EU standards now for food, it's like we're being turned into cattle. We're being turned into slow, dull, fat cattle. Uh, myself included, although I'm 12 kg down now, so maintaining it. Actually, about 13 now. So maintaining it. I know you've been doing a lot of training and fasting and stuff yourself. Well done.
Trying to stay fit, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the government has at this point isn't even pretending to care about us anymore. I mean, did you see those packages of food that they were doing for £30?
Yeah,
bro, I'm Nigerian. If my mom gave me £30 to buy food and I brought that, I get a slap. It's just these are the people running our country and controlling the media. So with Meghan, like I said, I may not necessarily feel completely sorry for them. I mean, obviously, it's horrible that she felt suicidal. That's not something I wish on anyone that I like. But
again, sorry to cut you off, but I think for me, again, the issue is that this whole thing, it's just become a fanfare and like a bit of a circus. Like, systematically, is anything going to change? I highly doubt it.
Even don't want it to change. Even Harry doesn't want it to change. When he was interviewed and asked, he said if they let him back in, would he get back in? Yes. He said it, yes. So he's still happy to benefit from this structure that was built off the backs of our ancestors. Go ask him where those family jewels come from. You see what I'm saying? He's still happy to live in the lap of luxury from the blood of black and brown people. He's still happy to be a part of this family where there were actual connections to Nazis. He's still happy to do. He just doesn't like that they question the skin color of his child. And this, again, I think is representative of the wider community and their stance towards things like racism or even misogyny, right? As long as it's not your
affecting
sister,
them directly, then it's all good.
People don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones. Like, I remember my mother-in-law attended a wedding, and there was another woman there who was Indian. Obviously, my mother-in-law is Kashmiri, and she was sitting down, and this person that she met at the wedding started complaining that, oh, a black family has moved in across the road. Oh, they're disgusting. I bet they're gonna stink. I bet they're all thieves. I bet they're this. And my mother-in-law kind of flipped, and then my mother-in-law kind of flipped out on the woman, and then later someone told her, oh, that woman's son-in-law is black and she has 2 black grandchildren. And then the woman went back to her and said, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And my mother-in-law was like, even if I didn't, I'd still be. It's not because it affects me, it's because it's wrong. And that's the mentality we need to take. But listen, man, I need to go now. I need to run off literally right now. It's calling. It's almost nice to see you. And you're welcome for being granted my audience.
Let's try and do this again soon. We always say this, but I think hopefully we have a bit of momentum now. So let's see, inshallah. But yeah, thank you for your time.
And everyone listening, like I always say, each one, teach one. Grandmaster out.
All right.
Yeah, I think this is a good one because it's short. But listen, I have to run out right now.
Yeah, go. I need to go as well. All right.
All right, take care, pretty boy.
Safe. Bye.